Hey, it's Lester Martin again with a real exciting technical video. Hey, this time I'm thinking a lot about what you see on my screen. I'm thinking about moving some data lake tables that are in the Hive table format to Iceberg. And there's some cool stuff out there. In fact, if you haven't been to it, there's some great tutorials. How to get there? Let me show you the quickest one to find. It's right here. I'll put this link. This link is actually in the notebook, but overview of what has to happen. There are basically two options when we talk about moving from Hive to Iceberg. And one of those is what we call a shadow migration. It's basically a CTAS. Take the contents of a existing Iceberg table and create another table from it. And then for Hive tables that actually have the supported file formats for Iceberg, which is Avros and Orcs and Parquets, you can just do a simple alter. Hey, adjust to it. It just builds that metadata and moves on. So that's good news. I want to make sure you're aware of that. And what I did is, when I'm thinking about this, that's the steps how to do it. I started thinking about, hey, how easy would this be to do at massive scale? And I realized I didn't have a quick tool. Someone asked me about it. I said, well, let's do something in Python. So here we are. We got a little Python. Today, a migration tool notebook. So this is a Jupyter notebook. Obviously, you can lift this code and run anywhere you want, but Jupyter not a bad place. Plus, we can kind of interactively do this. And as the notes say, it's really set up today to work with Starburst Galaxy, making sure we got at least a data lake catalog with some Hive tables that we want to convert. Give you a little help if you don't have Jupyter, kind of visit this other GitHub project and kind of hit this launch binder button you find there. You'll get stood up, and then wherever you have Jupyter running, just upload the notebook you see up here, migrate to Iceberg, and you're off and running. I will call out before I do the demo that this current version, this initial version, is very happy path oriented. So I'm going to click on this SQL up here that has my happy path scenario. It's built about 20 tables or so, I think it is. And the names kind of tell you what they are. They're a combination of Hive, Iceberg, and Delta tables in various formats. For the non-Parquet, the non-deltas that let us have different formats. So that's pretty cool. And other things, as I run through the demo, I will show you what maybe I still have to do some work on. All right, so over here, first thing we want to do is obviously just connect up to our Starburst Galaxy environment. I'm going to go over here and Starburst Galaxy, and it clusters, and I'm hitting this cluster. So I'm just going to grab these connection details right quick and paste them in here. That's my cluster, and then my user, and then my password, which I'll have to remember. And as it says, it doesn't really validate that, it just puts them in memory. I have some other properties here. Hey, these are just some things you'll see a little bit later. Primarily, what catalog in that cluster am I hitting? And then from that catalog, today I'll make you target a single schema, but in the near future, I'll just make it loop through if you put a star, or maybe you put a comma separated list or something, if you want to do a handful of those at once. And then lastly, the third property is just simply, what do you want that new shadow migrated table? What kind of properties you want there? I went ahead and even let you put a different type for giggles. Maybe I'll take that out and just say pick the format and that kind of stuff. All right, so we want to run those, make sure those are available. And then we just need to do some setup. I'm primarily using PyStarburst. If that's new to you, look down below. Find my About Me, find my blog. I write a lot of blog posts about PyStarburst. Yep, that connected. And then there's one function, you'll see it in the comments if you look really hard, that I just couldn't get to work with the PyStarburst. So I actually used as well the Trino Python client, a very well-tested tool that's been out a long time. All right, continuing on. Mainly what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply just go hit that configured, parameterized catalog and schema and say, hey, just show me the tables. That's the list of the fully qualified tables. Nothing more than just do me a dump. Give me all the show tables in there. And then my analysis, I go a little further and say, well, let's break it into some buckets. Let's break it into these kind of categories. Iceberg tables, hey, they're already ready to go. Nothing to do. And then for Hive tables, if they can support an in-place upgrade, let's put them in a separate list. And if they can't, they have other file formats, let's put them in a shadow migration, CTAS kind of migration. And lastly, if we find anything else. In our world, in Starburst Galaxy, we're probably talking about Delta Lake and Hootie. But who knows? Maybe I'll find something I don't know about. All right, so I ran that, and guess what I found out? I told you I had about 20 tables. If you look really close at these names, you'll kind of see why that's the case. But I have 6 Iceberg tables ready to go. Nothing to do. I got 6 Hive tables that we can attempt to do an in-place upgrade, in-place migration. Why? Because they are orcs, they're avroads, they're parquets, they're ready to rock and roll. And then I have some other Hive tables, JSONs and text files and that kind of good stuff as well. And then lastly, for giggles, I made sure I had a few other tables. I got some Delta Lake tables as well. And today I'm not doing anything with them. Likely I'll make the tool give an option and say, what do you want to do with other non-Hive, non-Iceberg tables? You want to do a CTAS, basically. Okay, so I said, let's get going. We identified the problems, and let's take care of a couple of them. This first one just simply says, hey, those 6 tables that are easy to upgrade, all I'm doing is that alter table set properties type equals. Just changing the back end. And really what's happening, all that migration is doing is walking those underlying files and then building a metadata folder and building those manifest files and manifest list and metadata folders, metadata snapshot files, all that good stuff. So I just echoed that back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all happy path. Everybody's working. Again, what I'll work on next on this is likely there are going to be scenarios where maybe column types aren't compatible, things of that nature. So I'll put some enhancements. First pass is just catch them as problems and set them aside and identify them. And then quickly following that, of course, is put some smarts in there to say, what could I do, if anything? Maybe the answer is I need to put those in my shadow migration list. So that's a good reason to do the in-place first. All right, so the in-places are all done. And then what I want to do is on the ones that need some additional work, the shadow migrations. What is a shadow migration? My attempt at it is, well, shadow migration is really just a CTAS. So I'm going to set the current table that I need to move. I'm going to change the name of it. That'll mess everyone up. The table kind of disappears, but that's probably a good thing. I don't want the table to be there and have people confused. So I'm going to move it away for a moment. I'm doing a CTAS that uses those configured properties earlier that says orc and iceberg, etc., and just do a CTAS as them. This is where I'm not tackling partitioning, sorting, bucket, any cool stuff, bloom filters. None of that stuff is kind of carrying over right now. That'll be a next kind of rev that I'll chew on. And then ultimately when I'm done, I'll take the hold table and just kind of further annotate it that it's okay to remove it. And then I'll just leave those in a collection that you can decide. So here's the output, let me get to the tippity top. There we go. We're going to do all this and basically 3 statements per table. So that Hive JSON table, alter it to call it a hold table, build the table with the original name as select from, and then basically do further name the hold. So the hold it's in progress, but I haven't finished it. And then when I'm all done, I'll through I mark it kind of like an RM, a remove command basically, or shorthand. And then lastly, today at least, the last thing I have left is, hey, I can optionally rattle through and delete those. So let's do that. And that is pretty easy. I'm just going to issue a drop table, the table name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what we want to quickly try to do is maybe come back over here while that's finishing up and look at the query editor. And I'm going to look at the move to ice. That was the scheme I have. And there's my same table names. But maybe a good test is to kind of look at one of these that should have converted. So temp cust hive orc, that originally was a hive table. But let's see what it is now. It's actually going to be, whoops, I didn't want to say run all. I meant to say TPC cust hive. We'll do the Parquet one. I meant to say show create table. And I want to see down here in the with clause that, hey, look here, it's an iceberg table using Parquet because that's what it started with. I could walk all these here as well, but maybe another one would be look at the temp TPC cust hive JSON. That is no longer a hive table, and it is no longer backed by JSON. There we go. It is an iceberg table backed by orcs. Why orcs? Because that's what I put as a property in there. You can make it parquets or avros as appropriate. And then the other tables, basically the two deltas, 2 or 3 delta files are fine, and all the existing Iceberg tables are fine. And just to validate the tool is still smart enough, I'll go back to the point where we say, hey, let's do a pull of those table names. So that was up here. Let's do those analysis one more time. It's going to get the exact same table names because I didn't change anything. And then let's quickly categorize them. And what we're looking for is the 6 and the 6, the 12 hive tables that need to be converted that were down here earlier. Oh, it didn't run. That was the markdown one. We expect those to be gone, 0 and 0. And we should have about 18 Iceberg tables and 2, non-hive or nice. There we go. 18 Iceberg tables exist. And there are 0 hive tables to be migrated or 0 hive tables to be written in place, or the shadow solution. Then we still have our 2 tables. And there's nothing to delete at that point. I think I should be smart enough not to blow up, should have nothing to loop through. Yeah, perfect. There we go. Wherever, there it is. Oh, I'm running the markdowns anyway. Well, that's it for me. Like I said, I got a few more mods that I want to do, but as always, this is a quick GitHub project. So don't hesitate to ping me directly, or just put raise a issue here on the GitHub project, do a fix for me, send me an email. Any help you want to provide, and help could just mean, hey, I tried it out and it broke. Let me see that, or build some more happy paths for me. I'll work on this off and on this next week or here or two, because I am doing a webinar on this whole topic, and I would like to have a somewhat decent little first cut at a workable tool that solves a lot of cool problems. All right, hope the video was fun, and like I said, look down below in the summary section. I'll put the links to all the information you need that I pointed out in the video. Thanks so much. It was Lester Martin, and we'll see you next time.